Welcome to the DMV show. As always, I'm your host, Gio. With me is my co-host, Noah Walker. How you doing today, buddy?
Tired but good, man. Ready for another episode. It's been too long. Been too long.
It feels like it's been too long, but I think it's only been 7 days. No, we just been you specifically have been working like a maniac.
Man, we're just
But
getting started. This is nothing.
yes, before we dive in on all the topics we have today, please, for us, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, engage today. DMV Sports Media is where it's at, where all our streams happen, where all the DMV Sports Soccer media or landscape is covered here. And I think we do it the best. So hit that like button, hit that comment, and share. We have a lot to cover today, so we're going to get started. We're going to dive right on in, and we're going to start where I think is bittersweet. I'm going to say it's bittersweet. We're going to talk about the Open Cup. The Open Cup being, hey Peter, how's it going, buddy? It's always good to see you. Uh, let's start with the Open Cup, Noah. Do you want to get the lay of the land on what happened with the Open Cup and why we're a little bittersweet about it?
Yeah. So for those who don't know or maybe aren't as updated, Virginia Dream, one of our flagship teams in the Super League in the DMV, not only qualified for the historic Lamar Hunt US Open Cup, but they also were victorious in round one, defeated a professional side, a historic side, Richmond Kickers 3-1. Really a convincing performance and just a landmark moment for the team, for the league. Last night in the second round, Dream traveled down to Loudoun United, USL Championship side. This is the second division of U.S. professional soccer, bona fide professional side, like some big names on the pitch. They did fall 4-2 in a tough match. They played really well. They fell behind twice. They came back. They really made Loudon sweat, and it was a lot of fun. I did travel down there, supported with a good group. What an experience! I mean, but they left no doubt that they're a team that can play at that level. Virginia Dream. They made Loudon use every bit of their energy, their substitutions, their technical abilities, and what a run! It got left me wanting more. With today was like hangover day in terms of the highs, the emotions, the every ball was in, the heart was pounding. We were so engaged. Losing sucks. It sucks that elimination, there's no more, but lots to look forward to with in the season. And what a run it was.
I mean, first of all, congratulations, Dreams, for the run. You don't people don't understand how hard what they did, how hard it was what they did because out of all the open division teams, only 5 teams made it to this round, and of those 5 teams, only one team made it out, and that's El Farolito, who plays in the MPSL. Obviously, they're going to get the $50,000 pot for advancing the furthest on the open division. Kind of wanted it to be Virginia Dreams, but things happen, and so there's that, right, and then to go first and knock out Richmond Kickers, which in itself is a task, right, and then to go and play loud in the way they did. I mean, they can hold their heads up high. They had a heck of a run. It was entertaining as hell, and what a team to represent us, right? Like for me, I'm nothing but proud for having that kind of team in this league, and that they went out and represented us the way they did.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, we have some very, very strong rivalries here amongst the teams within our leagues in this area. But I did see team players, individuals from different teams that Dream is going to play against, all their supporting Dream.
Yeah,
This is, I keep likening it to, because I got a brother very close in age. When you're with your brother in any competition, man, it gets almost violent at times. It's competitive, but when your brother goes
yeah.
to war with someone outside from the neighborhood, whatever, you got your brother's back. And that was what it was. Virginia Dream was representing for all of us, and kind of the DMV came together to support. So what an experience.
Yeah, and those that didn't go out were in the chat. Like North Star was in the Open Cup chat. It was really cool. It was really cool to see. Um
Yep.
but unfortunately, as I said, or as we said, Virginia Dreams is out. It's they were out. I honestly, it was like mistakes that led to those two goals that really kind of like put the nail in the coffin. And I know head coach CJ Taylor is going to be looking at that and being like, all right, this is what we need to fix for the Super Soccer League season, MPSL season, UPSL season. Um, so looking forward to how they perform this year for sure, and obviously, hopefully, we get to see more of that national competition from them.
They could face Farolito NPSL. I told Lucas and CJ that's what I want. Farolito NPSL finals. Let's do it.
This would be the year to do it because a gut feeling of mine thinks Fedelitos will be leaving MPSL. But that's not my league. I don't know anything. I'm not an insider. It's just a gut feeling. All right, let's let's move on. Let's talk about another national cup, right? Where we're talking about national cup, so we might as well keep going. And I think this is a really important one, and that's the National Amateur Cup. Uh, we have two games that specifically we're going to cover, but before we dive into that, can you kind of tell the folks what the National Amateur Cup is and why it's important?
Well, I'll be happy to, Gio. The National Amateur Cup is um, kind of the extension of regional, or rather state and then regional play for amateur teams, right? You think of a lot of people are familiar with the UPSL and the NPSL and the national structure that it exists there, and there is a national structure that exists within the amateur system. Um, it just isn't as connected to a specific league in the same way that UPSL and NPSL is. So the way that it works, and bear with me, there is at least one spot, available for participating states, USASA affiliated state bodies. So Maryland and Virginia, for instance, each sent two teams from their state competitions. The MDCVSA State Cup and Maryland's Stewart Cup sent
Yep.
Das Beer Hall and Christos this season. Los Toros and Yins United, represented from Virginia. There are additional spaces available in the National Amateur Cup to NPSL teams. The top NPSL teams get spots. I think Alexandria Reds are one of those teams, and Westchester United is going to
Yep.
have another of those slots. Um, so it's an opportunity for teams to test themselves at against other regional powerhouses. It culminates in a Final Four, one from each region. Region one being the Northeast, then there's the South, Northwest, and I think it's kind of the Midwest-ish South. I don't know exactly where the regions cut off, but that's the structure. And there is, by the way, a U.S. Open Cup spot available. The winner gets some prize money, gets incredible recognition, and then a U.S. Open Cup spot. You don't have to play through the qualifiers. You're in the U.S. Open Cup.
Yeah, and this is the 101st edition of this cup, by the way. That's insane. This is a historic cup, and I mean, in the Northeast, it's specific, or Region One, as what it's called, specifically. I mean, there's some powerhouses. I mean, you have Lansdowne Yonkers, the Freedom, New York Freedom, uh, Reds, Westchester, and from our very own Das Beer Hall and Los Toros.
And
We'll be
Los
playing.
Toros as well.
We'll be playing. We'll be covering those matches this weekend. Others from the area, obviously Alexandria Reds, as you mentioned it, Yings, Christos. Man, it's a competitive tournament, man. It's a very competitive. It's some big semi-pro amateur teams out there that are going to be there, and obviously, as Region Two is Region Two, Three, and Four are going to be the regions you were talking about. Another thing before we dive into the games between Los Toros, Westchester, and Das Beer Hall and Westchester APSL. So there's two Westchester teams. Um, is that there's going to be a women's amateur cup? I think this is the first one, right?
I've heard whispers of it in the past few years, but I don't know if it ever came to fruition. You would probably be able to answer that better than I, but I know that it's happening this year, so we'll just say it's the first one, and it's great that we're seeing that finally come off the ground and happen.
It's the first one I've seen in all my times in the amateur world. So it's pretty cool to see that. I mean, it's going to be 17 teams specifically in the Region 2. I haven't seen anything much about the other regions. I know Region 1 is putting players in there or teams in there, but they don't have a list of like how many player or teams are going to qualify. But that's something to look out for and something exciting. But let's talk about the two matches we're going to cover here on DMV Sports Media. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. But that's Das Beer Hall versus Westchester United, APSL, um, the APSL team. What do you expect from this game?
So I'll be honest, it's going to be probably difficult for me to analyze these matchups in the way that we normally would because I have no idea. I mean, I know the name Westchester, and I've seen them play, last season against Steel Pulse and a couple other live stream matches. Great organization. I just don't know the breakdown as it goes between NPSL squad and their open squad. How they're going to travel, how they are this season compared to other seasons. Das Beer Hall, obviously coming off of a huge upset performance over Steel Pulse, and they're a team that's done really well within the league. But they're going to be tested against the team that's done this at the highest level. And Beer Hall, like, they're so good for a beer league team. Like, you know what I mean? Like, which is I think how they style themselves. I don't mean that by
No,
to the
no
name.
disrespect. That's
It's
literally their
literally Das Beer
identity.
Hall. But now it's like a test. Like I feel like they entered because they entered into the league in Division Two, and from what my interactions with Sean and Joey, it almost kind of felt like they were always underselling themselves. Like, yeah, we're just putting a group of guys like over. It was like they're over 30 team, and it was just like whatever happens. And then when they showed up on game day, and it was like they were really good, and they were beating teams, and they got promoted and everything, and now they're competing at the highest level in Division One. They won the regular season, but the way they talk, it always undersells the team, and so maybe that's why. Like I don't know, I still have like doubts. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how's it going to go against Westchester? But I think that they've proven that they deserve to be there. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see how it's gonna shape out.
Well, so this isn't new to them, right? Obviously the roster might be new, the Westchester roster might be new to them, but Das Beer Hall, a lot of those guys come from the old Christos, right? The old
Mm-hmm.
Christos that used to go on these national amateur cup runs and the open cup runs. Like, so we know how talented they are. They used to play Westchester a lot. They used to have tryouts together, these two clubs, where they would
I thought they still do. There's still like an
they
open.
might still have that relationship. I don't know. I
They have
can't
like a
speak to.
combine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have a combine, and I mean these two clubs literally started the NESL, which was the Northeast Soccer League. That's a throwback, and
I remember it.
and they were so close. So like these teams or players from Das Beer Hall knows the Westchester United organization. So it's really interested to see these two actually play again. And Das Beer Hall is a historic franchise, right? Um, Making a resurgence recently and with players from Cristo. So it's this is an exciting matchup for me. Obviously, different scenarios because Das Beer Hall players are have truly set in their ways of being a beer team, a beer league team, but they're a good beer league team. So any day they could upset anyone. And Westchester, this is their APSL side, right? This is not their MPSL side. It's not their USL
Correct me
two
if I'm
side.
wrong. Is it APSL now? They used to be in the USL of Pennsylvania. That has become
Yes.
APSL. Okay. Okay.
Well,
So then
so
yeah, this is
they promote into the APSL.
okay. So yeah, I
Um,
know that they came from. This is it just listed as EPA, meaning Eastern
yes,
Pennsylvania. So we know
yes,
they came out of the state cup, the Eastern Pennsylvania State Cup.
correct,
That's how they
correct.
qualified. Um, whereas their other side from the same club is going to be the NPSL
Right.
qualified side that goes down to face Los Toros at Nike Park.
Which I think is a great segue to talk about that because that's a juicy matchup too, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. I mean, Toros, they're a side that, they've really made a name for themselves in the last, few seasons. They've been around before that, and they've obviously been a winning side. But I think we've seen, to some extent, dominance, in the American Premier League. They've also gotten themselves up to, the second place of the Virginia Conference of Super League in their first season. Now they're competing in UPSL as well. They're back-to-back state cup champions in Virginia. So I think that I'm going to back Toros in that match. I think it's also really tough to travel down, the 4.5 hours. Toros have that home field advantage playing at Nike Park, Great Falls. I think they have a lot stacked in their advantage, but Westchester as a team they can play. So we're going to see how they match up.
Real quick, what's up, Mr. Taylor Senior? How's it going? Noah was excited to be there, but sad to see the result.
Yeah, great to see you, Mr. Taylor. I'm with you. I'm excited that this is happening at the beginning of the seasons versus at the end.
Hmm.
We're just getting started. With all these campaigns, a lot to look forward to with not only Virginia Dream but all the teams that we're covering and playing within our league. So lots to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, like going back to this National Amateur Cup. I mean, the Toros matchup versus Westchester. Would it be crazy if Westchester was just like, let's take 24 players or 26 players, right? Just enough um for the first game with Dot Spear Hall and then the second game with those Toros. But I think it's too far apart to. Well, I mean, they if I could make it, they could make it.
What you mean? Have them play in the same players play?
Yeah. No, no, no,
Oh
no, no,
no, they
no.
can't.
No, no,
It
no,
has to
no.
be.
Not different rosters, different rosters. No, I'm
Yeah.
saying just enough on each roster and just have one bus that they take down. I mean,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, that's the concern, right? I mean, I remember when Steel Pulse went up to play Westchester, and granted, Steel Pulse does this for home games too, but they had the 12, 13 guys, and like it was tough to get guys up there. I went up, and it was tough for me to get up there and get there
it's a long
on
ride,
time.
man.
A lot of traffic through Philly and all that, and they have to come through DC and the Capital Beltway traffic. So yeah, it's never easy for an amateur side. They're not getting paid, so obviously that's going to be something that should favor Los Toros. They'll absolutely have their full side and be
Yeah,
ready to go.
and it's at home, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely, we'll definitely be watching. Obviously, the other games will be keep. We're not going to get covering. We're not going to be streaming them, but definitely to keep an eye out would be the Yings versus Alexandria Red. I think that's an exciting matchup, and I think just keeping an eye out on the Christos games because if Christos moves forward and Toros moves forward, that's going to be a repeat of last year, right?
I believe so. I believe. Yeah, I guess it was last year. Yeah, I know Christos and Toros have matched up, and Christos have had the better of that matchup in each of the times that it's gone down. So something that Toros will be itching for, and a repeat
Yeah,
rematch with
it
Christos.
was last year in the quarterfinals where they lost 3-0 to Christos. So
Yeah,
they want that revenge. I mean, we
no
wouldn't.
doubt.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Make sure you watch the Amateur Cup because all these were qualified through state cups. Now you're moving into regional play, and then after that, you'll be moving into national play. So definitely something to watch out for. Let's talk about another national league that we'll be covering a lot at the beginning of the year. There wasn't the thought because we only had a few teams we were gonna be streaming, but now we have a lot of teams from the UPSL on the channel. You kind of want to do a quick run through of all the teams that will be streaming on the channel.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer to just do the ones we're covering this weekend for right now
Okay.
because
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be able to rattle them off the top of my head, but also there's some teams that still have time to get in, contracts that we're not 100% sure with. I want to take this moment. If you are considering streaming with us, DMV Sports Media, we would love to work with your club, but we're not going to be doing the 2 days to go and you know what I mean, we just can't do it. We want to treat you better than that, and we're not going to do a great job if we're sending a last minute crew out there. So please, please, please look into your budget now, look into your scheduling now. If you don't want to hire us, that's completely fine, but if you do, I just want to make sure we have the opportunity to give you a great broadcast and great service throughout the season. So with that said, this weekend it is going to be on Saturday night.
Action
We'll
pack.
start with the UPSL DMV North. It's Chiefs United hosting Frederick Kings up in Maryland. That will be a broadcast. We're not going to have a live commentary on that option, but we'll still be bringing you the HD broadcasts, and we're really looking forward to that. I think Chiefs United, from what I've seen over the last few seasons, should be the favorite in that one. Although I did see one of the Sure Sports managers pop up on Frederick King, so maybe could be some players coming along with him from Sure Sport, one of those historic clubs. So that can make things interesting. But I'm going to choose Chiefs in that matchup, which is 6 p.m. Mount Hebron. Um, 7 p.m. We will have Doratus hosting Grove, who comes up from Richmond. Um, Doratus, an incredibly young side. They play in our Super League as well. They're a new team that they have a lot of young. I think the average age is between 18 and 20 years old, just to give
Yeah.
you an idea. Um, they have a lot of potential. They have had moments where they've done what 18-year-olds do and they've made mistakes, but they've been able to pull out some strong results just based on their fitness, their ability, and their youth. So I think they're going to have a strong side. Maybe it's just bias, and I'm picking our sides that are the home sides, but I think it's a hard travel for Richmond as well. Grove to come up and to beat Doratus at home.
Before you move on to Saturday, I kind of want to put my 2 cents here. Well, first, I want to address the chat. Peter, yes, we would love that. If you were here, we would definitely have you with us because we need all the help we can get. And
Yeah.
two, will we don't have any games tonight. We'll have games tomorrow night. We'll have the 2 games we're talking about right now, which I'm about to give my picks for. Uh, while I think I want to go with the Chiefs because they're the ones that are giving us the platform to stream their game. But something tells me that the Frederick Kings are looking a little dangerous this year, and I think I'm gonna go with a tie. I'm just gonna go with a tie, but kind of leaning towards the Kings winning this game. Don't hate me for that, Chiefs. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, Gio, make your pick. If you're gonna pick a win, I feel like I'm being corny by just choosing the teams that hired us, if you feel like it's gonna be a Kings win, go for it, man.
Well, so I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence because Chiefs looks good too, right? They're the players I've seen on their social media channels and the tryouts that they had videos and stuff. I haven't seen them actually play this year with the current roster they have, but I've seen the Kings friendly, and that for me is like, oh, okay, I've seen what they can do. So I'm kind of leaning towards the Kings, but I'm gonna play it safe, and I'm gonna go with a tie. For the second game, though, the Dorados versus Grove, that Richmond trip is a nightmare.
Is a nightmare. Grove are so good at home. I mean, partly for the inverse
Because they
reason
don't have
why
to.
they're, because teams struggle to go and play them. But even aside from that, like this, when they have some of those guys from their NPSL roster, right? Like that NPSL roster is
Is
serious.
yeah.
I believe there's a relationship with the Richmond Kickers, if I'm not mistaken, too, and so serves as kind of a feeder where they do have players who are trying to earn minutes, are trying to earn their spot into kickers, and serves as a great platform. I remember Mwepu was one of the players who stood out. If they bring some of those guys, the NPSL guys, like my pick might be a little different. But if it's just a 13-man roster of who they can get on the bus, it obviously is going to favor Doratus.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Super League side as well. Well, obviously this is UPSL, but I'm gonna go with Dorados just because
Yeah,
it's a bunch of young guys. I mean, and they're playing well right now, right? They're playing well in the Super Soccer League, and it's not against like teams that are. I mean, obviously there have been some mistakes from the teams they've been playing, but they've been playing pretty well. So I'm gonna go with the Super League side.
yeah, fair enough. I'll get into the Sunday matchups. We do have two UPSL DMV South A conference. So DMV South, I should clarify this, has split two conferences. One, to keep it simple, is the Western. The B is kind of like Western. It's not exactly linear because there's VA Revolution in the DMV South A, but anyways, in DMV South, we're going to have at 2 p.m. Villarreal, CFVA, hosting Virginia Dream, um, which is no small task. Virginia Dream ready to get back into action after that U.S. Open Cup campaign. And then immediately thereafter at 5 p.m., we'll have Arlington hosting Alexandria United of the Super League as well, which I think is my matchup of the weekend if it lives up to
Wow.
it. In the UPSL,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I've been impressed with what I've seen from Alexandria, especially this past week. They ended up pulling points in a really tough game where they had an early red card. That showed me a lot. They're young, but they are talented. In the first game, I'm sorry, Villarreal, no brainer, gotta be Dream. That's just I can't see a situation in which Dream are dropping their first UPSL match of 2025, especially coming off of a disappointing match. Um, and I'm going to pick both, and then I'll let you get your picks in. The second match, I'm actually going to take Arlington. As much as I want to pick our Super League team, I just I'm getting I'm feeling the confidence coming off of the Arlington management as we talk about this broadcast coming up, as we talk about their roster. They're not giving me any specifics yet, or I haven't seen any like depth chart lineup, whatever. But it's like when we were talking to MSI before the
Yeah,
SSL season. You just feel the confidence, like not cocky, just confident, real confidence. And something's cooking over there at Arlington. They've been, a huge organization, a huge
historic
program
side.
since back when they were Olympiacos. And so I'm going to take them. No disrespect to Alexandria, but as always, prove me wrong. What are your picks?
Obviously you got to go with Dreams, right? But I want to address something before I just pick Dreams. Like there was chatter in the chat saying that this Dreams team in the Open Cup, or the first time they played together, they just contracted people to play in the Open Cup. These players have been here.
Wrong. Go. It's literally on video. We literally live stream all of our games. Go check out week one against Esperion. Esperion will tell you it was the whole same. Only guy they didn't have was Joe Rice. Joe Rice,
Right.
and Lorenzo Herrera, and Nate Lynch, who were both really capable goalkeepers. They were given some minutes, but aside from that, literally the other 10, pretty much the same, give or take. And a lot of those guys have been there for the
For
season. Like, do they
years.
use the same roster every week? Of course
No.
not. They're playing three leagues a lot of like, you know what I mean? So they
Exactly.
gotta mix guys in, but no, like they did pick up a couple Maryland Bobcats guys. That's
Hmm.
called an off-season transfer. I mean, show me an amateur side or any side that is not that isn't acquiring players. If you're not making acquisitions, you're stagnating and you're getting worse, not staying the same. Yeah. So I think haters gonna hate.
Yeah. I mean, you're hated because you're a good team. But I just wanted to address that. But with that being said, I'm gonna go Virginia Dreams. I'm sure they're fuming that the game didn't go the way they wanted it to, and a golden opportunity, and they're not gonna have their first game continue that streak. So I'm saying Virginia Dreams are gonna have a fantastic game and are gonna take all 3 points. And I hate to copy you, but I am gonna pick Arlington. I hate to copy you, but yeah, that was my pick. I was hoping you would Super Soccer League team, but it's all good. Arlington, something tells me that they're gonna be a good side this year. This is a rivalry, um, a juicy rivalry at that.
It's like a
Alexandria
big
Arlington,
brother, little brother rivalry. As I
yeah.
understand it, like Arlington, even in the past, have like referred players to Alexandria, guys who
Hmm.
it's not a fit with their roster or they're too young, whatever. Some of the coaching staff at Alexandria, Coach Simon, and Coach Beltran, coach in the Arlington youth program. So there's a huge degree of
Crossover,
familiarity there.
yeah.
But it is one that has been kind of one-sided. Arlington have gotten the better results. It's not it's for the most part been really close, but Arlington have had the better of it. So it only stands to reason that we would see that again. But sports are fun in that way. So we'll see how it shapes out.
Yeah, so with that, just the vibes they're sending me and the historical side to it, I'm gonna go Arlington as well.
Yeah.
But
Welcome.
that kind of
I was going to say, Josh pointing out Milton Juarez from Dorados, a incredible player we have seen. There was chatter of Milton Juarez going over to Virginia Dream, but I guess that never came to fruition, and he'll be there on Saturday if I'm not mistaken.
well, I'm sure Dorados is excited to have them. I'm excited to have their players because they've been meshing well, man. We're gonna talk about them in the Super Soccer League here in a moment. But before we dive into the Super Soccer League, do we want to? Well, no, you said let's hold off on talking about all the teams we're going to cover in UPSL. We'll come back to UPSL, but that's roughly who we'll be covering. For sure, we'll be covering Virginia Dreams day, week in, week out, Dorados. But there's going to be some moving parts with the UPSL and us. But we'll be covering them. We'll probably talk about their like key takeaways and what the weeks are looking like and stuff like that as we move on. But right now we're gonna move into Super Soccer League. We're gonna get in trouble here because we're about to do some power rankings.
Let's go.
And we're gonna get a lot of hate mail, I think, but it's
Oh man,
okay.
if you're as long as you're participating and you're engaging, bring the hate. I love it. I love it.
It's just gonna be interesting. All right, no, how do you want to start? Do you want to start in Virginia Division One, then do Maryland Division One, and wrap up with Division Two, or do you want to start two and go up to one?
Whatever you lead the way.
All right,
I'm gonna follow your lead on this one.
let's do Division Two. Let's start with Division Two in Maryland. I'm just gonna rattle off my list, right? And then I want to get your reaction. And then you know what? Let's go one by one. Let's do one by one. Let's start with 7 seed. Who you got in the seven seed? I got MPC.
I got MPC, and it's no disrespect. It's just 5-1, the only performance we've seen from them. It's a young side,
Very young
and
side.
it's not that they got worse. It's just the league is getting so much better. But haven't seen enough of a sample size from them yet to kind of dispel that disappointing result that they had in the first week. So plenty of time for NPC. But yeah, I agree. I have them as my 7 seed.
And it's not so had the NPC finished out the way they started that first half, I might have to revisit this pick
Mhm.
because they played Touch Kings very well that first half. And then that second half, just the wheels came off the bus and it just fell apart. But that first half is hopeful, so we could see something different from NPC. For number 6, I have Peru United. I
I've
laugh because I don't know if you're gonna go there, but I have Peru United.
No, I was gonna go that route too. Peru United coming off of like a really disappointing performance. Slancha looked looked great. I mean, Slancha looked great, but I just think Peru United, they had such high hopes. Their fan support was so great, and I hope they don't lose that fan support because
Yeah,
you could tell the fans. They're I love fans that they're not just there like, oh, it's a sunny day, whatever. Like, no, they were pissed. They were pissed at the performance of the team, and they were letting the players know it. Like, that's what you get. You're gonna have ask those people to give up their Sunday afternoon. They're gonna voice their opinion like supporters should. So yeah.
I heard it. I heard it through the stream. I heard the chatter. I just heard sub him off, and I'm like, oh man, I feel so bad for that player.
Yeah.
But Slancha, they were hungry to get started, so they got started, and Peru United had a very first their first week against Baltimore was fantastic, right? That comeback to split the points was great, but then they go and do that against Slancha. I mean, if you want to test your metal and you want to be up there with the big boys, you have to play week in, week out. And unfortunately, they fell flat. They fell flat against Slancha. Uh, all right, number 5. I'm gonna get some hate right now.
I'm going. I'm going Baltimore City FC.
What?
Uh, is it? Is that
That's
what
what
you were
I
gonna
had.
say? That's I.
That's Go ahead.
And it's I'm judging just on the sample size we have for this season, right? I'm not
Right.
going based on
Their
past
APSL side, nothing.
accolades, not going based on how much I like a brand, on and anything else. I'm going by what's been put on that field, and thus far, it hasn't been enough. City, now looking back on that split points with Peru United, I think even more so, they're going to be kicking themselves. Touch Kings, yeah, I don't think that was their best performance, but Touch Kings, even despite the 5-1 scoreline, Touch Kings is really good, really
Yeah.
good. They'll want to do better, but that wasn't as shambolic as I think them dropping points, that they had in the bag with the 2-0 lead and then squandering that. So yeah, I'm going to put Baltimore City there until I can be proven otherwise.
Yeah, we're going based off of what's on the field, right? Not we love the Baltimore City brand. We always had that. We'll continue saying that. what Baltimore City has built is great. Um, they obviously have a roster in APSL. They have a huge roster actually. Now that I think about it, I think it's like 30 players or whatever. But at the game day, there's only 18 players, and the 18 players they've been picking haven't been doing it for them. And whether we see that change, I don't know. But Baltimore City, I'm putting you at number 5 until you prove me otherwise.
Yeah.
Number 4, I have Etihad.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's gotta be.
We probably have the same
Hey, so
freaking
here's the
list.
thing. Like we're picking the same teams, but like yeah, I mean it's just we've been watching the same games. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. It's not like we're following each other. Yeah, Etihad. While they don't have any points yet, they've only played the one game, but that was massively impressive
Yes.
against such a strong MSI squad to narrowly. It was if it were not for the Dominic Nassiem penalty kick save, that would have been split result, a 4-4 draw. They just narrowly lost 4-3. So huge performance, but they still haven't gotten points. So we got to temper the
The
temper it a little
excitement
bit.
there. We got to temper the excitement there. All right.
Yeah.
I agree. The performance was just enough to get them here. Just that performance alone. Obviously, I'm not gonna lie. I also allowed their cup performance to influence me a little bit. So
Fair.
I'm not gonna lie. There's recency bias, but Etihad is looking good, man. That performance against MSI was fantastic.
For
But
me,
number
the
3,
cup, while
go
it's
ahead.
not like I'm not using the cup, but the cup just shows duration, like longevity of it wasn't like a one-off thing. Like they didn't
Yeah,
just bring a bunch of guys out for it shows that they can continue it. So yeah, I'm not using the cup as like that's why but it shows like okay, yeah, this is probably not a one-off thing for the performance against MSI.
for sure, for sure. All right, number 3, I have Slancha, and I have
I
their jersey on.
you do have their jersey. I was gonna ask you about that. Yeah. This is where I hadn't thought this far ahead, but this is where it gets dicey for me, right? Because I know going into the season, I had MSI as my top seeded pick. If you had asked me to do a power rankings based on nothing other than what I know about the teams and my feeling, I was a little bit disappointed by MSI as much as I was impressed by Etihad in week one. Just how close that game ended up being. Um, and for that reason, I'm actually gonna tuck MSI back into the number 3 spot. Maybe I shouldn't be basing my factors on this, but they're about to also be adding another game each week in as they start their UPSL season, and they're gonna have to start to
You know
manage
what?
that roster accordingly. They're playing Touch Kings back to back Saturday and Sunday this weekend, so neither team will be at a disadvantage, directly. But after that, they're going to be at a direct disadvantage playing against teams who have not played the night before and managing rosters. So that might be something they do, as great as a street juggler, but we don't know that yet. And I'm gonna put them at the number 3.
I put Slancha there because I had only one game to judge MSI and Slancha, right? And Slancha played Peru United. MSI played Etihad. If I'm putting Etihad in 4th place and Peru in 6th place, I have to put Slancha here. I'm going solely based on what we've seen, right? Slancha played fantastic for what I for the game against Peru, right? But they allowed 2 goals on them, right? Whether there were mistakes, whether there was silly stuff, it's still like
Mm.
Slancha. My expectation for Slancha is high. It's really high. The bar I'm setting for them. So anytime they don't live up to it, I'm sorry. I have your jersey. Much love, but I'm gonna judge.
You're gonna pick or you're gonna pick. Yeah.
Yeah,
anybody can get it. That's
right.
that's fair.
Um, but with that being said, MSI is in my number 2 spot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was this one was touch and go, and maybe I just want to finally be a little different from you, but yeah, this is close, and I think obviously it's gonna just come down to game day. Slancha and MSI when they match up,
Yep.
they both. I hope they both bring in the very best they got because Slancha they were so close to promotion last season, just narrowly bowing out, and I'm sure some part of them, maybe in that moment thought Well, next season it's going to be not a lock, but favorite. There some three sides came in that kind of turned heads, and now it's a renewed urgency. It's a renewed vigor for them, and I think that they're a team that responds well to that test, and they know what they have to be even better. They made some great acquisitions, BP Sievers among a couple other players who performed really well in the past week. So yeah, I like them as my number two.
All right, and for number one, obviously we
Yeah,
have
anyone with
uh,
eyes or
yeah,
ears. Yeah,
obviously we have Touch Kings.
Touch Kings. What a side! I
Impressive.
mean, I knew about Touch Kings. I knew about the youth organization. I knew about some of the players they had, and it's a new club, new men's side. But obviously some individuals with really strong resume. Um, Coach Omar. But when I saw the players on the pitch, when I saw Kevin Medrano, when I saw like the brothers Tamoyo in there, and when I saw what they've been doing to teams, I mean that's my number one pick. I mean, if they here's the catch, there's always got to be a catch. Can they continue? I mean, can they continue to bring the same level, maybe not the same players, but the same level of players? And are they going to get complacent, right? Because if they get complacent heading into a week against Slancha or whoever Itty had, even it's that's these are sides that can punish you. So yeah, but for right now, they're taking it seriously. They're definitely bringing a strong squad, and I like them for number one.
For those that don't know, they scored 10 goals in 2 games. It's
Yeah,
insane. 5-2 against Baltimore and 5-1 against MPC. It's insane how much goals, and it's wild because Baltimore City was doing great against them in the first half as MPC, and I said it on the broadcast. Touch Kings is one of those teams that's just going to chip away at you, and before you know it, you're down 4-3 goals.
yeah,
It's wild. This team is so good, and you cannot sleep on them whenever they have the ball because they will put it away. So definitely a team to watch out for. Right now, sit comfortably number one in the power rankings. Uh, do we want to, before we move on to the power rankings for Division One, do we want to rattle off the score lines for Division Two for those that didn't watch
if you have them
Wednesday?
in front of you, go ahead.
So Slancha, Peru United 4-1, Baltimore City versus Touch Kings. It was 5-2. I am missing one though.
What are you missing?
Am I not missing one? No, I'm not missing one. No, no, no. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Okay.
I thought I was missing one for some reason. I was gonna pull up the sheets. I was gonna pull in the master roster, the master list, but no, we're good. Those were the games, the Division Two games for the weekend. All right, let's move on to Maryland, Division One. This is gonna get.
You want me to go first? I got this one.
Yeah, you go first. Well, we're gonna start bottom up, right? Bottom up, bottom
Yep,
up.
bottom. Team United, number 7. Team United, not good enough thus far. I respect them as an organization, and um, but I think they'll agree they haven't been up to either of the tests. They Das Birol, obviously a quality side, 4-2. Okay, that can be excused. Ambition, another side that's been playing well, um, but with both those results together, in back-to-back sequence, um, a 2-1 result against Ambition, starting to ring my alarm bells, and they are going to be playing in the Nigerian soccer league on Sundays in the latter parts of the season against all recommendations, against all advice. So that's only going to make things. These are the games early on that they had to get points from. These are the ones
Yep,
where they had no excuse, that they
yep.
needed to, get themselves ahead. But it's going to get started early this season with the Nigerian Soccer League, and while they're putting the emphasis on the Super League, like that's their first kind of choice. Still, just having to balance those two games on Sundays is a lot, and I just don't think they've been good enough, to dominate the one they're in, or to really bring the best in the one.
Yeah, they have to be really careful with their roster. So, and it's not just that they lost to ambition; it's the way they lost to ambition. Right? They were starting to lose their head. They they were getting a little carried away, getting focused on talking to the ref to to watch out for calls and stuff like that. And then that slowly snowballs into performance, while ambition was like focused. So I'm like, you know what, team, that's not. I didn't like that. So I'm putting team in sixth. Do you want to go? Sorry, seventh. Do you want to go with six, or do you want me to put my six out there?
Kickers.
What? I have A3.
Really?
Yeah, I
I
have
was
A3.
I I was impressed this weekend with the kickers.
That's
I
really why it.
was, yeah, a wild 6-4 shootout with Steel Pulse. Um, and maybe I'm proven wrong. Maybe I'd already made up my mind on this one, but um, something about just the nature of the game against here we're here to get ourselves in trouble. So why don't I just go ahead? It just didn't like it. The A3 game felt like a more serious game. Like the the 6-4, just like the absurdity of the 6-4 scoreline for the Steel Pulse Baltimore Kickers game.
Mhm.
Um, it felt very like disjointed. The teams just back and forth, back and forth. This is one that could go either way for me, but I guess I had to make a choice, and kickers just behind A3.
So here's my thing, right? My thing is A3 played Steel Pulse. Baltimore Kickers played Steel Pulse. Obviously, the games were a little different, but anytime you can put 4 goals against Steel Pulse, deserves a little notch up. So that's literally, I mean, that just Baltimore Kickers for me is the number 5, right? And A3 is the number 6. Literally it. I mean, also, I probably should have put Baltimore Kickers on number 6 now that I think about it, because they also did lose to Ambition, but whatever. I'm sticking with what I have. 5 is Kickers for me.
Yeah, 5 has to be A3 for me. Um, yeah, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, and see which way they're gonna go. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, A3 had a bye week, so we have only seen A3 one time, so we'll see. We'll see.
you go
Uh,
first on this one. I know what I'm picking, but you go ahead.
I'm picking Das.
Oh, really? I'm going ambition.
I went Das. I went
I'm
Das
going.
for
It,
number
it
4.
was it was youth versus experience, and I had to give deference to Das Beer Hall, especially as reigning season champions. Um, but yeah, ambition making a very real case for themselves, and of course, everything on the pitch will be the determining factor when those teams match up. But what's your thinking in putting Das behind ambition?
Well, so the reason I put Das behind Ambition, right? One, I seen so Ambition's in my number 3, so I'm just gonna talk about both of these together.
Hmm.
Ambition, I've gotten to see them 3 times. I've seen them play against Team United, I've seen them play against Bullies, and I've seen them play against Baltimore Kickers. Right. The match that really stood out for me was that Bullies game. That Bullies
Yeah, I
game,
almost forgot about that, and that is, yeah, that's a huge
that
match.
and Bullies versus Das. Like, I've gotten to see the direct comparison what both of these teams look like against Bullies, and Ambition lost by 1. It was a 1-0 loss. Bullies and Das, it was a 4-2 loss. And Ambition was playing so well against Bullies. I was like, man, these two teams are for real this year. These two freshman teams are for real, and that's why I went Das for it. No disrespect to Das. Das is full of talent. I mean, they also have um oh my god, why am I drawing a blank?
Is it a name?
Yeah, he went to Christos, but he's playing with Das again.
Oh, Sean
Sean Ostrowski, thank you.
Ostrowski. Yeah,
He is with Das, which is a huge thing.
got a
And
big
that goal
goal.
from Holly, oh my goodness, it was a great goal. But I digress. The players we know in DOS are great, but as a whole, I think Father Time is catching up, and every year they don't refresh players. It's only gonna help. It's only gonna hurt them. So they need to refresh. They need some fresher legs, and Ambition has a ton of them.
Yeah,
So I'm going Ambition.
Fair enough.
No,
Well, I guess I've kind of went through. I mean, we can move on because explained my two picks
right.
there.
So he have number two.
I'm gonna put Bowlies. I'm gonna put
What?
Bowlies. Uh it's a
No, no,
reluctant
no.
pick.
Don't let me influence you. Don't let
No,
me
no, no, no.
influence you.
I honestly didn't even really think about this, but hey, I'm gonna stick with my gun. That this like without thinking, I'm putting Bowlies at number two because while they have been like the hot pick, right? Their jersey sales are going to be going through the roof, quote unquote. Like they're the hot pick in terms of trending, and Steel Pulse maybe trending down a little bit. Let's temper that. Let's reel it back in. Steel Pulse still Steel Pulse. Name a better front three than Musa Kande, Diarra Zumana, and then yeah, Ramsey Hassan or Emmanuel Oluwesi or whoever really they put, in that front three. Um, Still, Yusuf Nasiri is there to dominate the midfield. And in the back line, they got Captain Edobio and his assistant, Mr. Charles Boateng, holding it down. So yeah, like it's a side. Sometimes we'd like to see a little more consistency, a little better defending, and especially in set pieces. And that I'd like to see them close out games better. But I mean, that attacking prowess is for real. And I'm gonna have to wait and be proven that Bowlies deserve to be the one spot, but it's a close one.
This is a fluid chart for me, right? This is a fluid week by week chart. So I'm going based off of form. And yes, Steel Pulse has beaten A3. Yes, Steel Pulse has beaten Baltimore Kickers, but we're talking about on your list, um, 6 and 5. Well, also on my list, 6 and 5. So, and then the consistency for me is the big factor. They were consistent against those two teams, but when it's the bigger team or the better prepared teams, how is Steel Pulse going to react? I can't think about that because I haven't seen it, but that's what it was for me. I had to compare them against who they've played, and Bowlies has played Das Beer Hall and Ambition, who for me are 3 and 4. So I had to go based off of that. And currently, Bowlies' form is phenomenal, and it was a 4-2 win against South Spear Hall, who are the former or the current champions, regular season champions, and Ambition, who is a side that's on fire for me. So I had to give Bowlies the number one seed, man. I had to. I'm buying. I'm investing.
Yeah,
I bought my jersey.
there you go. No, that's going to be a great matchup. I'm really looking forward once we get Bowley's Steel Pulse. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer, but not too much longer. I guess that concludes Maryland for us and brings us down to
Real quick,
Virginia.
let me go through
Oh,
the results. The results from Sunday. If you didn't watch the games, which is crazy if you haven't, results go 6-4 Steel Pulse over Baltimore Kickers, 4-2 Bowlies over Das Beer Hall, and a 2-1 win for Ambition over Team United. So now let's go over to Virginia.
yes. Virginia. I see Abraham Ubeda is in there repping Toros, saying Vamos Toros.
Don't yell at us.
Abraham, yeah, get ready to call us out to. Well, actually, I haven't decided how I'm going to pick yet, so you actually may like my picks. But
Oh, I have my list right here.
get everyone in, get the Toros guys in here, get all the Virginia guys in here. Let's
Get
make
the
some
Toros
noise.
guys in here because y'all gonna like me after today. But
Oh,
go.
I can't. You're gonna aside here. We'll take a little side. You get the pleasure of, and I'm a little jealous, but you get the pleasure of going down to the Toros house on Sunday, going to Nike Park. It's very reminiscent of Eastern Regional. You're not going to have, some big, stadium and bleachers, but they're going to have real supporters really there, getting under the skin of the opponent's players. There's some of the funniest banter. Like it's not in bad spirit, but they're in there making their little chants, picking out individual players.
That's
And
the best. That's the best,
it's
man.
the best. I love the energy. Coach Dave does a great job of keeping the players focused, right? Because the supporters can do one thing. The players got to be supportive. He hates it when they go and they start complaining about the referee and they start,
Mm.
getting on each other about a bad pass. Like, no, that's toxic. And he wants positivity. What he loves is get up off the bench, support your guys, yell, cheer,
Yeah,
and it's such a healthy kind of atmosphere when it's all flowing. So you get that
I'm excited. I'm
experience.
excited. And then after today, y'all really gonna like me. So either way,
Yeah.
let's get
Let's let it
started.
rip. We're starting off with number 8. You want me to go? You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I can go first. LAI. I got LAI. I've only seen them one time, and it was not the best of showings.
Yeah,
It was just a rough game. It was a rough game to watch for them.
yeah,
So
yeah. But I'll go as far as shambolic. It was because they lost. They lost the game so early. They were out of it
yes,
so early, and it kind of that was like not even worth watching after a certain point. Still lots of time to turn it around, and you know, um, but they lost a couple of key players. They lost Jeremy Goshu to Blazers. They lost Jakob Asfaha. Perhaps no more key player exists than Asfaha, who's now full time with Los Toros. Um, and so we're just kind of waiting to see, are they able to replace those players, um, or are other guys going to be able to step up?
and those two players have been really important for the teams they went to.
Hmm.
So yeah, unfortunately, that's where I got to go. For number 7, I went Esperion.
I
Uh,
was I was going to pick Asperian too, and that one is one that I almost wanted to be like sneaky and put them higher because I wanted to, be indie and say, look, I chose Asperian before everyone. It was cool but they haven't done it yet. I just look at that roster that got smoked by Dream 6-0, and like there was a really good roster out there. Like it
yeah,
was really good players, and then they for a time they kind of held their own.
yeah.
Um, if not for some just like I don't know how to say it, boneheaded plays like that just ripped the game wide open. Goalkeeper lining up his wall, not asking, "Are we on the whistle first?" Letting
Well, no,
Dream
the whistle
counter.
blew, man. The whistle blew.
Oh, he did blow the whistle. Well,
He
either
did blow
way,
it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Either way, just not being aware and those mistakes you can't make against Dream. Like you might not win the game against Dream if they're at their best, if you're at your very best, but you need things like that to go your way. You can't be missing, whatever penalty kicks. You can't be giving them goals because it's just a giant gut punch to the team. So,
Yeah.
Esperian, I still think they've got enough talent, but the problem with losing games, like, 2 tough games, and then also losing. I know they've lost in their other league, the American Premier League. The, like, how do they respond? Are guys going to stop showing up? Are they going to bounce back and still draw that same player pool, or are they going to sink? So that's why 7 for me seems like a fair
And
assessment.
it's early in the year, Esperion. Use this to bring that performance you guys had in the cup because that was impressive. It was so impressive your run in the cup, in the state cups that we saw that. We know you could do it. So just bring that performance and you'll bounce back. But it's early in the year. You have plenty of time to right the ship. It's really tough when you go on a 6-0 loss to Virginia Dreams. And then before that, a 1-0 loss to North Star. So I had no choice. Had to go 7. But in the 6th spot, Blazers.
Blazers.
Jinx, you owe me a dollar.
Look, Blazers. I was really impressed in week 1 with their response and pulling points against Doratus. After going down 3-0, and they actually created far more chances. Jack Pinson saved Doratus in
Yeah.
some ways. And there were some misses and whatever. But I was still impressed with Blazers, and I was ready to put them higher up the chart as a kind of a sleeper pick that went out the window with kind of a coming out performance for Alexandria United, a really strong. Did we end at 5-2 or 6-2? I think it was 6-2. I'll have to go
6-2. Yep,
6-2.
6-2.
Yeah, I thought it was 6-2. Yeah, I mean that was really poor defending a lot. A lot of those goals were preventable. Some of them were just great goals, and Alexandria deserved to bump up the charts for that one. But yeah, Blazers definitely have to go back to 6.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head with that. But with that being said, I have 5 Alexandria United.
Really, Alexandria
Yeah.
United at 5.
So I'll say why.
You explain your pick first.
So just as you, I have Alexandria United at 5. I have North Stars at 4. They could have flip flopped either way, honestly. Um, but they both tied 2-2 in this last meetup between these two. Um, Alexandria United beat Blazers 6-2, and then they also lost to Dorado. They lost both to Toros and Dorados, right? So initially they were on a losing streak for me, and I was like, all right, against the better sides, Alexandria United is always missing something for me. I said it before. I said it in the last episode. Alexandria United is right there, but against the the better opponents, they're just missing something. And against North Star, they tied. So for me, they could have flip flop, but I'm just gonna go there. I'm just gonna go with Alexandria in fifth and North Stars in fourth.
Yeah, I will take that flip flop. North Stars as my number 5, just because they weren't able to get the goal that seemed almost a gift after Alexandria United in their last matchup. Went down to 10 men so early. In the first half, and granted, North Stars actually looked really good in that game, and Anthony Baca came up big for Alexandria in goal. But even still, I was really impressed. This is going to be close, and those two
Yeah,
sides, I'm going to learn a lot on Sunday. I know it's a different league, but still, we're going to see similar group and how they're able to fare against really highly touted Arlington SA side. I don't know if we're allowed to use that to bearing on our Super League power rankings, but I think it's still going to give me a little bit more evidence on where they're going to land this later in the season.
Do you want to go 3? Because I'm about to shock the league right now.
3, I'm going Doratus, because Doratus have done really well and they deserve to be in the top 3. But we haven't seen them against Dream. We haven't seen them against Toros. And those are sides that, for me, just they until proven otherwise, they kind of deserve to be a lock 1 and 2. Virginia Dream, Los Toros. Until I get proven otherwise. Until we see Doratus, pulling off the upset over Toros or Dream. But let's hear your pick, Gio. Yours sounds a lot more exciting than me.
Texador, I appreciate that. I appreciate the compliment of saying that Gio knows ball, but
I'm sure it's totally unbiased and not based on it in any way that you chose.
No. It was unbiased, 100%. I am a neutral as neutral can get. You're about to find out why. So I have Dreams as number 3.
You're wild.
But
wild.
hold on. Hear me out.
No, let's hear it.
Hear me out. We know what Dreams can do. We know Dream can get to number 1 in a heartbeat, but we've only seen him play one game. We're going
it was a 6-0 game
against Esperion, who's in seventh place for us, right? So I can only go based on what I see in this league right now, right? So I can't take in consideration what they did in US Open Cup because they freaking killed it in the US Open Cup. I can't take in consideration what was done last year, right? I'm sure this is not going to stay as is, but we're going based off of what we saw, right? So because of that, I've only seen them one time. I know that's going to change next week. I know it's going to change the week after that. But let me have my moment.
Fair enough. Hey, look, I appreciate a bold pick. I don't agree with it, but I understand. Hey, if you're able to stand behind and put your reasoning out there behind the pick, I'll listen.
It's one game against Esperion, who is a number 7. So if I have to go with those logics that I use in Division 1 in Maryland, I have to use them in Virginia, and Dreams has to be number 3 for me.
And you lost Brandon. I said, all right, might have to take it back.
Look, I just gotta go based off of for I know they're a great side. I know they're gonna change. I know they're gonna be in the top seed, but we have to go one game at a time, right?
Yeah.
Next week when they beat whoever they're gonna play, or next week because they already Virginia already played this week. Next week when they play Alexandria United, I'm probably be singing a different tune. But this week, I've only seen them once. Although I know what they can do, I'm going to put them 3.
Yep. All right. Well, how
So
crazy are
number
you
2,
feeling? Where are you going? Where are you going with number 2?
Dorados.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm going there because they obviously have the most games. They've played the most games, and they beat Alexandria United. They a great game against Blazers, which they should have won, but they kind of blew that lead. And then their 4-0 win over LMI, which really doesn't say much, but just current form. I'm gonna go there because they're besides Los Toros, they're in the best form.
Yeah.
Consistently, right?
Yeah.
Consistently is a key. Game in, game out.
Yeah. I'm gonna be more boring with mine. I'm going Los Toros. I think Toros.
You're
They're
such a homer, bro.
yeah. Hey, you're bringing all the excitement. We can't lose our credibility. I gotta. Oh, sorry. That was a low blow.
It's all right.
No, I'm choosing Los Toros because, well, one, they were the runners up in the league last year, but they've had some strong results. They've knocked off North Stars. They've knocked off Alexandria United. And it's more of the
Los
same. They
Toros,
were
like
quarterfinalists in the MDV Cup. They were repeat state cup champions in Virginia. They're going to be, obviously representing in the Amateur Cup. So they're the pick. If it weren't for a little team named Virginia Dream, they would be the pick. That's one that I've always got a circle on my calendar. They're not going to be playing in the same conference in UPSL, which is
right.
great for the Super
For
League
us.
because it just makes the matchup between Los Toros and Virginia Dream in Super Soccer League action that much more juicy. Yeah, I know that this is what Virginia Dream does. Like if it weren't for Virginia Dream, I think Los Toros have the ability to maybe get a little complacent at times, and
Oh yeah.
and they can sit back like we're winning another league, winning APL again, we're about to win Virginia again, but they got a team they're hungry to beat. They did beat them actually in a Summer Copa group stage match last summer. It was 1-0 game. And since then it's been all Virginia Dream, but like that's who they see themselves on par with, and of course it's making them a better team in my estimation.
I'm going Toros. Los Toros for number 1.
Dio's picking Toros as number 1.
As number 1,
Hear that,
right?
Toros? You're gonna get so much love. He's just doing that because he knows he's gonna see them in 2 days.
No,
He's
you know
going.
what? To be honest, I totally have forgot it until you said something. I was like,
That is
holy
too
shoot.
funny. He's trying
Yeah.
to get another free jersey. That's what it
No,
is.
hold on. I have not gotten any free jerseys. All my
You paid
jerseys
for
are
your
paid for
respect.
because and both teams have offered it to me, but I say no because I want to support. I am a true lower league supporter. So if you have a jersey that I can buy, please hit me up. Esperion, I've already told you, send me the link and I'll buy your jersey. But y'all haven't sent it to me.
I'll send a reminder over to Arfa. I'm sure he slipped his mind. Yeah,
No, I'm sure he has a
he's trying
thousand
to get
things
his
to do.
team back into winning ways. He's
Yeah,
focused right
for
now.
sure. But that red jersey is nice. I'm excited for April 16th. Well, we'll see the first matchup between Virginia Dreams and Los Toros. That's going to be a very exciting matchup for everything you said. But Los Toros, man, they're undefeated, 2 games undefeated against Alexandria United and against North Stars, right? They take care of business, right? Whoever's in front of them, they're gonna do what they need to get the points, and that's what they've done. And for that reason alone, I'm picking Los Toros. Once we see this league continue, then we know it's gonna be Virginia, Los Toros. But let me have my fun while I can. Let me have my fun when I can still make arguments for it. Goodness gracious!
You see,
See
Peter
now,
says
Soccer King.
we have too many leagues in our area. Wow.
Arlie, thank you, buddy. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
And Soccer King was thinking you were gonna put Doratus, but hey, second's not too bad.
Second's not bad, man. Second's not
Second's
bad.
not bad.
Enjoy it while it lasts, because next week when Virginia
Woo.
Dreams gets this this win,
Wait, so Doratus may be powerless to help themselves, right? Because they're not playing Virginia
they're
Dream.
not playing. They're
No,
not playing.
so
Well,
yeah,
I mean, I gotta, because we gotta go game for game, right? So Virginia Dreams is gonna play Alexandria United, next week, right? Um, Dor- Dorados is, are they playing? They are playing. They're playing Los Toros
oh wait, oh
on
wait,
April
oh
10th.
my, that makes things so much more fun.
That makes it so much
Doratus
more
and Los
important. You got to
Toros.
beat Los Toros to keep your number 2 seat. You have to,
Yeah.
because now Virginia Dreams has more than one game, and if they win by anything 3 goals or more, they're shooting into the first place.
Oh yeah, and I'll look. You have my word, Doratus. If you beat Los Toros, you're going to my number 2, no doubt. At least, at
See,
least.
now we talking. Now we talking fun.
Ne- Possibly even more, but you need some help from Alexandria. I'm sorry, that's not happening on its own. We would need Alexandria United to shock Virginia Dream in order for, and then that would open up a whole other can of worms. But we can't
That's what I'm
speculate
saying,
here.
man.
That's
You gotta enjoy this while you can, because later on in the season, we're gonna see who's consistent. Consistency's king, and those teams that remain consistent from week 1 to week 10, 9, 8, 7, they're gonna be the ones in the top seats. So let's make sure you're consistent. Um, Peter, you have a lot of leagues in your area, don't you? You
yeah.
have
They have the standings
UPSL.
right.
Yeah, look at all those leagues. Goodness.
Four-way tie for first place only here. Four here: UPSL, Midwest Premier League, Gulf Coast Premier League, and USL two. We have a couple other ones. I mean, we got ones we haven't even mentioned in our area that are good leagues, but we got a pretty high
Well, we
population
have the
density and a lot of
underground here.
international, you know,
We
flavor
ha-
as well. There's a lot of talented players
I
in
was
this
gonna say
area.
we have the underground here. We have the Nigerian leagues. We have the Spanish leagues. We
Yeah,
have
yeah,
leagues that don't belong to any association, and they're all cash pot leagues.
facts.
Oh, those are fun to watch. If you haven't, definitely catch a game.
Yeah.
They get a little tasty sometimes, but anyways, all right. I'm gonna run through the scores. There's been 2 weeks of Virginia division because we didn't record on Monday. The Virginia teams have played, so I'm gonna run through from scores from March 25th, which was week 2. I'm gonna do week 2 and week 3. So starting on March 25th, we had Dorados 2, Alexandria 1. March 26th, Esperion 0, Virginia Dream 6. March 27th, North Stars 1, Los Toros 2. Now, this week, we had, no, sorry, it's still last week, Saturday 29th, we had Alexandria United 6, Blazers 2. Now, this week, Tuesday, April 1st, we had North Star 2, Alexandria 2. And week 2, or sorry, April 2nd, we had Dorados 4, LAI 0. And that wrapped up Virginia results for as of now. As of now. All right. We have a lot of games this week. A lot. When I'm talking about a lot, it's a lot. So we're not going to go through each game, but we are going to pick a game of the week for Division 1 and Division 2. And then we could list the games, but we're not going to go through them.
I
And
got my
if we,
Division two game.
I go for it.
Division two got to be MSI versus Touch Kings. I mean, it's anyone can see that. I mean,
Yeah.
look, there's no controversy there. That's 7 p.m. Montgomery Blair, our friends, Mr. Josh and Mr. Matt will have the call for that one. By the way, I may need. We'll talk offline. May even need to figure out the audio situation with that one, but there's going to be some fireworks for that one.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
that yours?
that was mine too. I mean, the only other one that could be juicy would be Etihad and Peru United, just because I want to see Etihad again. But really, I mean, Slancha NPC, Slancha should win that. Etihad should win that, and MSI versus Touch Kings will be interested. This is the first week Baltimore City is going to have off, so they have a moment to recoup and revisit everything that went wrong against Touch Kings.
Yeah.
All right,
Um,
Division One. So I didn't do a Virginia one because Virginia already played this week, and they won't kick off until next week. So we'll try to record on Monday so that we can do a Virginia one next week. But my Division One in Maryland is Bullies versus Ambition.
yeah, that's mine too, and it's bothering me that we're not streaming that one. I'm like considering like, will I have enough time to maybe drive up to freaking?
We should talk offline because
I,
yeah.
I yeah, that's gonna be such a good game. It, Peter, you're right. We have an absurd weekend as far as streaming goes. Absurdly amazing experience from a viewer. And if you're not subscribed, please, I don't know what you're doing, but if you're watching this podcast, you're still
Austin,
not subscribed. I don't know how
sorry.
much that overlap is, but yeah, lots of
Yeah,
games.
no, it's a subscribe. I just want to address Austin's point. Let him glaze. Let him glaze, please. I don't play anymore, so this is the only thing I get. All right, Austin, don't steal. Next week you can glaze on Monday. I'll put the
I also
Bullies one
watched
on.
enough of our streams. I get, it's so funny. It's become like a running joke is the people bring up the glazing of, it's usually in a Virginia Dream context, although I get it too for other teams, Toros and whatever. Like, no, I mean teams that are good are gonna get their due. If
No, he's
any
talking
team.
about the jersey. That's what he's talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought that was why he brought up, but maybe it's just youngster slang. I
No,
don't know.
no, he's because Arlie put looking good, Gio, because I have Slancho on. Next week, Austin, I got you. All right. Those are the match the for the games of the week for us. But I'll rattle off all the games that we have going on Sunday, uh, which are a lot. So we have in the morning, starting in the morning. We're gonna. Should I just do
Can
Super
I
Soccer
can,
League, right?
can I just do all? I'm just so proud of how many games we've
All right,
got to
do
watch.
all of them. Do all of
I
them.
just want to
Do all
like
of them. Look at
flex.
this guy. Look at
Just
this
let me
guy. He wants
flex.
to showboat. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go. All right.
Glazing
All right. All right.
DMV
All right.
Sports Media.
Oops. Count. Well, we're live right now. We can't count this, but I'm gonna still mention it anyways. 6 p.m. On Saturday, we have UPSL DMV North. That is Chiefs United versus Frederick Kings. Again, that's 6 p.m. on Saturday. At 7 p.m., we have the UPSL DMV South B Conference, which is Doratus hosting Grove United. On Sunday, starting at 10:30 a.m., Milford Mill SSL Division Two, Slancha versus NPC. We're going to take a quick break from SSL matches for our USASA Region 1 Cup, which is Das Beer Hall hosting Westchester United, their Eastern Pennsylvania qualified team. That's 1 p.m. live on the channel. At um, 2 p.m., we'll have the UPSL
Oh yeah.
DMV South A Conference Villarreal hosting Virginia Dream. And then at 3 p.m., we're back to SSL Division Two. Itihad versus Peru United live on the channel. At 5 p.m., the UPSL DMV South A Arlington SA versus Alexandria United. Also at 5 p.m., Steel Pulse against Team United, Super Soccer League Division One. Then 5:30, another Region One Amateur Cup. That's Los Toros hosting the other Westchester United team, their NPSL qualified National Amateur Cup team. Then at 7 p.m., we have MSI Pro versus Touch Kings in our Division Two Super Soccer League match of the weekend. And then finally, we have the 8:30 matchup between A3 Highlanders and Baltimore Kickers in Super Soccer League Division One. We're trying our very best to figure out how we might be able to potentially stream Bullies versus Ambition, but unfortunately at this moment we can't promise that. It will be recorded. We can promise that. We just got to figure out how to get our resources. We're scaling up in terms of our, there's a lot of equipment and it's a lot of expertise that goes on in order to have, the number of different teams out in the field. But growing pains right now, we're trying to make sure we can get to everyone, which is why we need your help. If you're going to contract us, please, please, please let us know. Let us know
soon, because I mean, Noah just rattled off a bunch of names. If you didn't realize it, was 12 games. 12 games between Saturday night and Sunday. It's insane that we're going to pull this off. But this is only the beginning. We have a crazy schedule coming up the rest of the year. So, if you are going to contract us, you need to do it ASAP so that we can organize ourselves, because growing pains, as Noah says. Ivan Escalante. Well, thank you. We are the social team.
Well, we got to give a big shout out to Thais working diligently.
Well, yeah, Thais, yeah.
Thais is from Nicaragua. We got and my lovely wife as well, helping out, connect us with our team, and we got connections with Nicaragua, getting the graphics we need so we can be great in the field. Yeah, I know they're working their tail off this week with all of the graphics,
highlights. Oof.
The highlights. And by the way, there's extended highlights for every game. So if you don't have time to watch a full game, you should check out where we put the extended highlights on YouTube for all the goals, key moments throughout the match. That's something we've introduced and should really take advantage of. But yeah, our very small social media team has been just absolutely working their tail off. So
yeah, so we're happy that there's a team in Bowley's Quarter now, and if you are a player, reach out to Austin Hyde. All right, everyone, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, share, comment. This weekend is nuts, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get notified when we go live for any games you want to watch. If not, just leave the channel open and you will catch all our games. Why not? That's always an idea. Everyone, have a great night. We will see everyone in the streams this weekend. Have a good one. Oh, it didn't play again.